Good morning and welcome to the Brett and Gus Show. Today's event update will be on vaping. It's a global epidemic, and we got a quick video here for you to see. Here we go.
I have some friends that never smoked before and now they vape because it's the cool thing. And then when we go out, sometimes they'll have a cigarette now when before they never would.
Well, sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable to go in the bathroom while the kids are vaping and stuff.
I guess we're the guinea pigs of the future.
Well, just a sample there of what some of you had to say on the issue of young people and vaping. This week, Health Canada said it intends to introduce new measures to curb the rising amount of vaping by young people. Some of the new measures announced include a proposal for more advertising restrictions on vaping, new public education campaign targeted at young people, limits on places where ads can be put up and the content of those ads. According to the Canadian Tobacco and Alcohol Drug Survey from 2017, 15% of Canadians say they've tried a vaping product. Youth and young adults aged 15 to 24 years of age have the highest rates of vaping. So now, the Tobacco and Vaping Products Act already prohibits sales of vaping products to those under 18, but the health agency says it's aiming to strengthen the rules. So for more on that, let's bring in CBC medical contributor Dr. Peter Lynn. So welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, John.
Let's talk about where we are and how we got there on the issue of vaping.
I still remember when the e-cigarettes first came out. We thought that's a great idea, right? You take people that are smoking cigarettes, switch them all over here. You go from 4,000 chemicals down to maybe 20 or 30 chemicals. It sounds great, right? Yeah. The problem was when they first brought them in, there was no nicotine in them. It was illegal. Right. And so therefore, if there's no nicotine, people aren't going to switch across to this. Unfortunately, there was fruity flavors and things like that that appealed to the young people, and they said it was a safe version of smoking, and so therefore they adopted it. So that's why in the US, they've been tracking some numbers. You showed some Canadian numbers. They went from 2011, 1.5% had used it, to 2017, 11%, and then 2018, in just 1 year, it jumped to 20%. So it's doubling, every year that we're seeing. And also on top of that, about 20% of the people that are using e-cigarettes move on to real cigarettes. So it's now growing the number of people as opposed to shrinking.
Right, so effectively, instead of weaning people off of tobacco, it's being now as a gateway. And let's focus on young people because they seem to be the real threat in all of this.
Yeah, and the concern that we have for them is that what happens when they start taking in this product. So if you're smoking 4,000 chemicals, you go to 20, that's a win. But if you're smoking nothing and you move up to 20 chemicals, you now have 20 chemicals coming in. And long term, what would happen if they keep doing this? And the addiction side, now that nicotine is added in now, the nicotine gives you a little hit in your head. And it only takes 8 seconds. So from when you breathe it in, it goes to your lungs, right into your bloodstream, and then it gets pumped straight to your head. So 8 seconds, you get this little tingle in your brain, and therefore you like that. And that's why people are vaping a lot at schools. So to the point, one of the schools, they're thinking of taking the door off the washroom because everybody is standing inside vaping. So the addiction side is a problem. And then of course, finally, if they move to real cigarettes, then they pick up all of the risk of true cigarettes as well. So that's why they're concerned for young people.
So the original justification for this, that people who are confirmed smokers, adults, who would then take up vaping to eventually wean themselves off it. Is there any efficacy attached to that argument?
Yeah, so just this month, there was a study that said people that use e-cigarettes to get off smoking actually do better. And that's because it simulates smoking. So there's now some science behind it. But then the companies that are doing it, for them to say, okay, I can help you quit smoking, they have to do a proper study, get official approval from all these health agencies, and that's a lot of work for them. So instead of going after that bucket, they're just saying, okay, if you want to do it on your own, great, but then this group of the younger folks are really the ones that are adopting it very quickly. And so that's why as a company, if I want to spend lots of money over here and maybe get a good study and approval versus just allowing people to do it, the easier path is the way to go.
Okay, let's talk about parents and their involvement in all of this. What are the signs they should watch for, the dangers associated with their kids?
Yeah, so for the kids that are already smoking, you're going to notice that basically maybe their money is going a little bit quicker and things like that. And the key thing is just to be aware that it's happening. So assume that your child has been exposed to it at school, if they're in high school, and then just talk to them about it. Hey, there's chemicals in there, it's not as safe, that kind of thing. And it's more for the younger kids, the 8-year-olds, when we have that conversation.
Did you say 8-year-olds?
Yeah, 8-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got to get them early. Yeah. So therefore, what we want to do is tell them about, don't take candy from strangers, that whole list of stuff that we do about smoking and alcohol. And now maybe we'll just put in about vaping as well, just so that they're aware, so that when it comes up to that situation, they know what decision to make.
Okay. this whole issue around you can't get candy cigarettes anymore, you can't get candy cigars anymore, but is it the flavors that have made them so attractive to young people?
So it's the flavors that make them attractive to kids. So Health Canada is saying we don't want anything attractive to kids. So we don't want fancy flavors, we don't want fancy names, we don't want beautiful packaging. So they're saying let's get rid of the package and all that stuff. Is that going to work? Maybe not with the young folks, because if you type in on the internet and you type in just vaping, one word, you get all these lovely YouTube videos of people blowing perfect smoke rings, and it is very cool looking. So therefore, the access isn't a big billboard on a highway, it's more like the internet. So therefore, maybe we need all that packaging things, but we also need some way to access that social media. So maybe if we have a good celebrity that says, hey, this is not as cool as you think, and so on and so forth, maybe that's the way that we'll, sort of immunize our children against this problem.
Most certainly a gigantic problem globally. Thank you for tuning in. Please click the subscribe and like buttons. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Thank you.